Hello you good people, welcome to day 5 of the Puffin Festival of Big Dreams. My name is Radzi and today's theme is all about dreaming bold. Because if you ever read a book and just felt inspired, that feeling in your tummy that fizzes and excites you and makes you think, I've got so much energy, I want to do something now. Well, that's because, in my opinion, words and stories are so powerful, and that's what makes books so brilliant. So with that in mind, it's time for us to get dreaming. So let's get our dream faces ready, chins in hands, heads to the skies, and click after me. 1, 2, 3. Did you know Jacqueline Wilson has written more than 100 books? More than 100! It's incredible. Of course, one of our most famous is Tracy Beaker. And she came up with the idea for Tracy Beaker whilst reading a newspaper and seeing a story about foster children. But that's the thing about writing. Your ideas can come from anywhere. You can write about something you know, or even from somebody else's experience. But the thing for me is about getting your voice heard. And how do you do that? You get writing. Well, here to tell you more about her ideas is Jacqueline Wilson herself. Now, you, our incredible Puffin Dreamers, have been voting to decide which of Jacqueline's amazing stories you'd most like her to read to you. Well, the results are in, and drum roll, please! Oh ho ho! What a choice! Well, that means we can sit back, relax, and enjoy the story.
Hi everyone. I wonder if you've got a big dream. I know my big dream is to carry on writing heaps more books. I can't remember quite how many books I've written at the moment. It's either 111, 112, something like that. A couple more lined up. It would be wonderful if I got to 120, 125. I don't know, just so long as I can keep on writing books. That's what I enjoy doing most. I'm sitting here at my desk. You can't see all of it because it's in a terrible clutter. I'll show you one or two things on my desk. I wonder if you can guess who this is. And there's a very special stamp of Tracy Beaker. Nick Sharrett, my lovely illustrator friend, made that for me. And there's a lucky mascot from the past, Radish the Rabbit. A proof copy, early copy of my new book for teenagers, Love Frankie. My notebook, which has got a sort of cover of an old-fashioned version of one of my favourite books, Little Women. My computer down here. And here is the book that I'm going to read to you. You all had a chance to vote for which one of my books that you wanted me to read. Tracy Beaker got a lot of votes, Hetty Feather got a lot of votes, but this one actually was the winner. The Worst Thing About My Sister. And I can't help wondering if that was because you've been having a lot of rows and squabbles with your sisters. Now we're all in lockdown. I thought I'd read the beginning part, okay? It's about two sisters, obviously. The girl writing the story is Marty, and her biggest sister is Melissa, and they have to share a bedroom, which isn't always a great idea when you're very different kinds of sisters. Okay, I'll start. It's Marty telling the story. The worst thing about my sister is she's such a girl. Well, I'm a girl too, but I'm not a dinky, pinky, silly, frilly, girly girl. Think cupcakes and cuddly teddies and charm bracelets. That's Melissa. She leaves a little pink trail around the house, sparkly slides and ribbons and notebooks. You breathe in her revolting scent long after she's gone off to hang out at her friends' houses. She's not allowed to wear real perfume yet, but she's got this rose hand cream that smells really strongly. She doesn't just rub it on her hands, she smooths it in all over, so she's always slightly slippery. Her lips shine too, because she's forever smearing on lip gloss. She's not really supposed to wear makeup yet either, only for play, but she's got a big plastic bag patterned with pink kittens, and it's crammed full of eyeshadows and mascara and blusher. It used to be just Mum's old stuff, but now Melissa spends half her pocket money in Superdrug. When Melissa was in the loo, I crept into her ultra pink and fluffy bedroom to borrow a pen, as mine had all run out. I couldn't find her school bag. It must have been downstairs by the computer, so in desperation I looked in her plastic makeup bag. I found a brand new eye pencil with a perfect point and its own cool little sharpener. I went back to my Marty den, sat on my top bunk, and started drawing an amazing new adventure of Mighty Mart. I didn't mean to use a lot of the pencil, I was just going to do a quick sketch. But then I had this great idea of giving Mighty Mart giant springs in her feet so she could jump, boing, over rooftops and lampposts and trees. Drawing all these astonishing feats took up 3 whole pages in my sketchbook and most of Melissa's eye pencil. Then Melissa poked her nose into my Marty den, rabbiting on about some missing hairbrush. I'd experimented, gluing it onto the back of a little mangled teddy, turning him into a pretty cool porcupine called Percy. She failed to stop him snuffling for ants under my bunk beds, but she did see the stub of her eye pencil in my hot little hand. "You horrible thieving pig," she gasped. "That pencil was brand new, and there's hardly any left now." "Well, it's not very good value then, is it?" I said, a little unwisely. Maybe I should have said sorry, but she did call me a pig. Not that I actually dislike pigs. I think they're very cute, and I love scratching their backs with a stick, when we go to the children's zoo. Anyway, do you know what Melissa did? She ripped all 3 pages out of my book and tore them to shreds. I couldn't believe she could be so hateful. I mean, she could always buy another silly pencil. I might even have paid half out of my pocket money. But I'd spent 2 whole hours drawing Mighty Mart, and now she was just confetti on the carpet. So I thumped Melissa in the chest, and she slapped my face, and then we were rolling around on the floor, shoving and screaming. I'm a much better fighter than Melissa, but she scratches with her pointy fingernails. I'm fast and furious, and I know how to punch properly, but Melissa is a lot bigger than me. Perhaps that's the worst thing about my sister. She's 2.5 years older, and no matter how hard I try, I can never catch up. I'd have still beaten her, I'm sure of it. If we'd been left to our own devices, Melissa would have ended up as pig pulp, but Mum came running out of her bedroom and barged into my Marty den to stop us. "What are you doing? Stop it at once, Martina and Melissa. You know you are absolutely strictly forbidden to fight. You're not little gutter snipes, you're girls." She pulled us apart and stood us on our feet. "How dare you?" she hissed. I wonder if your mums have got a bit cross with you during lockdown. Now, Marty and Melissa at the beginning of the book, as you worked out, have got separate bedrooms. But then Mum has to start up with a new office, maybe like your mum or dad at home, and so they have to share a bedroom, and you can imagine what it turns out like. So I had fun writing this book, and lots of people assume I had a sister. I didn't. I was longed for a sister, but I've been fascinated to hear what other people think about their sisters. And of course, everybody loves their sisters to bits underneath, but you don't half get cross with each other at times and tell very, very funny stories. While I've been doing book signings, sometimes people have told me all about the dreadful things they and their sisters did to each other. Sometimes, ladies as old as me go on about their sister when they were young. So, okay, that's my book extract. Now I'm going to answer some questions, which I wrote down in my notebook. because your questions are sent to me on the iPad, and obviously I'm filming on the iPad. So, Isabel, aged 11, asks, sometimes when doing literacy work for school, I really don't know where to start and I get writer's block. Have you ever had this, and what can I do to get going with my work? Well, probably every single morning of my life when I settle down to writing, I have just a tiny weeny little writer's block, because I stare at this bit on my computer where I have to carry on writing this story, and I think, what am I going to write next? And I think the thing to do is just jump in straight away, even if you're not really sure what you're doing, and pretend you're telling a story to your best friend. When you're talking to somebody that you're really, really cozy with, you don't stop to think what it sounds like. Just try and be as natural as possible. Just try to get to the point. And that way, I think you'll overcome your self-consciousness, and then you can just start on with the story. And then I'm sure your teacher wouldn't mind if, when you got to the end, if at the beginning you thought, that paragraph's a bit odd, if you edited it just a little bit. They'd probably be quite pleased with you, actually. It's okay for me, because I don't have a teacher. Well, not when I'm writing my stories. I just write at the computer, and then when I eventually start the rewriting, I can start all over again. So that's fine. Okay, now a few of you have asked whether there will be more stories about Tracy Beaker and her daughter Jess. There are 2 stories now about the grown-up Tracy. There is My Mum, Tracy Beaker, where Tracy's probably in her 30s, and she has this 10-year-old girl, Jess, who tells the story. And then there's We're the Beaker Girls, and that tells a little bit more of their story. The lovely shiny silver paperback is out in July. So you might, I don't know whether you'll be able to go on holiday now, but wherever you are, in the park, in the garden or whatever, maybe you might like to read the story, because it's set actually at the seaside. I'm quite lucky, I live near the seaside, so I can quite legitimately just walk down a few roads and I'm actually there. But anyway, I loved imagining what Tracy would be like as a mum. And I think she makes a really good mum, actually, though she can still get a bit feisty at times. Not with Jess, though. Jess can do no wrong in her eyes. At the end of We're the Beaker Girls, they've made a really big decision, Jess and Tracy, and I'm really keen to find out how they get on. And so perhaps at some stage there will be a third story about Jess and Tracy. Hope so, anyway. Taylor asks, what book did you enjoy writing most? Well, Taylor, it has to be the story of Hetty Feather. I'll make my Hetty jump up and down with excitement. There she is in her foundling uniform. Hetty is a story about a Victorian girl in the 1870s, 1880s. She is in the Foundling Hospital, and she doesn't really like it there. Who would? But I was a bit worried about writing this story because I hadn't written a proper historical book before. But as soon as I got started, I just felt at home. And I just loved writing the story. I've written many other stories about Hetty and her friend Diamond, and 2 other girls, Clover Moon, Rose Rivers, and I've just finished writing yet another Victorian story. I love writing contemporary stories, but I think possibly my heart belongs to the Victorian age. It's great fun, and I love doing lots of research. Behind me there are bookcases. All around this quite big study there are bookcases, and with lots of actual Victorian books, and I have a happy browse here nearly every day. Okay, another question. Ashling asks, are there going to be any more theatre shows or films or TV series about my books. Well, that sounds very tempting. Well, I'm pretty certain there's going to be a new BBC television series about a certain Ms. Beaker and her daughter. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed for that one. I would love it if there was another big film that Sky showed recently, like For Children and It. It was great fun for me to see that film, and actually had a tiny weeny part in it as well. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And one of my favourite experiences to go to the theatre and to see an adaptation of the story of Hetty Feather. And so if there could be another play of one of my other books, that would be great too. So they're really 3 big dreams of mine. Let's hope at least one of them comes true. Now, I don't really think we've got any more time left for any questions, but if you'd like to share your stories, your dreams, your thoughts, if you go to the Puffin Dreamer hashtag, we'd absolutely love to know what they are. So it's time really for us all now to say goodbye. I would just like to remind you that I was actually nicknamed Jacky Daydream because I daydream so much, and I certainly had very big dreams as a child. Now that is a photo of me when I was about 10. I was always trying to grow my hair, and that's about the longest it's ever grown. My own hair in lockdown is getting near that stage now. And what I wanted more than anything else, my great big dream, was to be a writer and get just one book published. But that dream certainly come true many times over. I do hope your dreams come true too. Take care. Bye.
Radzi here, and I hope you've all been enjoying the Puffin Festival of Big Dreams. But whatever you do not miss the weekend extravaganza live on Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. There is an incredible lineup. I'm talking about the fantastic Jeff Kinney, the wonderful Robin Stevens, the brilliant Nathan Bryan, the fab dapper Adiola, the multi-talented Carrie Hope Fletcher, the phenomenal Lucy Hawking, none other than Nick Sharrett, who's been illustrating some incredible things, not to mention some real life puffins. See you there.